Hey everyone, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. The Knitting Turnpike. My name is Gina Pike. I'm so happy that you're here today to spend some time with me to talk about a knitting project that is dear, close to my heart. I have already been sharing this with you guys. It's the Romi Hill 2021 Spring Mystery Shawl Knit Along. And I've already shown you guys the first two clues. And today we're here to talk about clue number 3 and all of the stitches that go along with clue number 3. So I hope you're ready. We have been working with the first color of yarn. This is my first color. This is Angel Faced Rose in one of Diana Dye's beautiful mulberry silk linen yarn base. This is all that I have left of color number 1 after clue number 3, 14 grams. However, spoiler, we are done with color 1 after clue number 3. So, no more yarn chicken for me. For this clue, there are 3 charts. There's a chart E, which is worked in color 1. There's a chart F, which is worked in color 1 and color 2. And then after chart F, your color 1 is no longer going to be used for this project. Then there's a chart G, which is worked solely in color 2. There are a bunch of new stitches, not a bunch, there are 4 new stitches on your chart for this clue that I'm going to show you. Again, I'm going to show you the new stitches at the end of this after I show the clue, and that way you don't have to go looking for the video that explains the stitches if you are interested in them. If you're not interested in learning the new stitches for this clue, just stop the video when I get to that section and call it a day. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. If you do not want to see this clue, do not watch this video because this is a spoiler and I'm going to show you what clue 3 looks like. So no more teasing. If you're ready, let's go ahead and get into it. And again, excuse me one second, 2 colors. Yay! We're finally getting into the second color. All right, here we are. This is what clue 3 looks like. This is what the whole shawl is looking like. If you remembered, clue 1 was about to here, then clue 2 was about to here, and clue 3 is this third chevron, this new section of color work that came in, and then this. And there was all kinds of interesting stitches in here, some of the same kind of stitch work, some new stuff. Let me try to show you up close what this is looking like. This is another one of those little V sections with yarn overs. Then this part right here gets into the slip stitch color work, which I'm going to show you how to do those slip stitches. And I will show you the back of my work because usually and inevitably most people are like, what does the back look like if I'm slipping all these stitches? And when you slip stitches for color work, you have to carry yarn in the back or in the front. And a lot of the biggest issue with that is how loose do you make that float? You know, you don't want it to be too tight because if it's too tight, your stitches are going to be all bunched up and your design's not going to be free to open up when you block it. It will just throw everything off. If it's too loose, you're going to have a bunch of yarn hanging down in the back or in the front, and it's just going to be annoying and probably a little bit too big and maybe block out a little bit too big. So knowing the right tension to do that is takes a little bit of just doing it over and over. You want to knit it just right, and that's hard for me to show you how to do, but I can just show you what mine looks like. since we are talking about this, this is what we were slipping stitches in numbers of 3. I do have that stitch at the end of this portion of my video, but these are what my floats look like in the back. As you can see, they're not too loose where they're hanging down, but they're also not too tight where everything is all bunched up. And that's what that back of that section looks like. And the front of it looks amazing. I love these two colors coming in together. There was a little bit of a I think a little bit of decreased stitching at the top of this to make it kind of look like a little bit of a flower. And I don't know if you can see this as y'all hold it back a little bit, or as you look at it, you can kind of see like there's a little, these are little flowers designs. So cute. They have like a little leaf, and then it kind of comes up and it has a little bulb on top of each one of these. I think it's just really, really cute. All in the floral theme of her design for the shawl, with the flower stalks coming up and going into this section here, and then to the flowers, the budding flowers. Then there's a break here with a purl stitch section, and then we start utilizing color 2 solely, and we start bringing in more of that same design that we had down in this section, where we have the bobbles and the decreased 5 stitches, which really is another form of a central decreased stitch. But as you can see, we have bobbles here all along the section. If you don't remember how to do a bobble, I have that in my Clue 2 video. I can explain it here pretty quickly. You do an increased 5 stitch, which is a knit, yarn over knit, yarn over knit, turn it right there, purl all those 5 stitches, and then turn it back again, and then do a decreased 5 stitch where you slip 3 stitches together knitwise, slip, slip, knit the 4th and 5th stitch, past those 3 stitches that you slipped over the stitch resulting from the slip, slip, knit. And that takes 5 stitches back down to 1, and you get these really beautiful bobbles from doing that type of a stitch. If you can see them, they give it nice texture. They're all right in here. So that's on the first row of that color work after that purl stitch section. And then as you can see, it's starting to go up. And here we are again, we're starting to do more of those V's that we have down in here, doing those yarn overs. And then this part right here has a really, that kind of design that we had down below with the bobble and then a center double decrease stitch. So there's that ornament, and then you do a V, and then you do that ornament again with the bobble and the center decrease stitch, and then you alternate again and do the section with the V, then you do the bobble stitch with the center decrease stitch again, and then you do the V, and it just alternates all the way around this portion of the shawl. The shawl is getting pretty big. We're around 300, a little over 300 stitches now, so we're getting into the Mahusuv stage, and takes a little bit of time to get through the row, but you know, just use stitch markers to mark off each section, and that helps you keep track of where you are, and also helps you count, helps you like each section has a certain number of stitches, so you can know that if you have, say you need 14 in this section and you have 13, you know something is missing here, and you can easily identify which portion of your shawl has something not right with it. A lot of times it's usually just missing a yarn over, and that's easily fixed as you go along. You can just go down 2 rows, pick up that stitch, wrap it around the back, and then it's fixed, and you don't have to undo your row. So usually when it's a mistake, and if it's missing a yarn over, yay, we don't have to undo anything to fix it. But that's what this clue is looking like. I really am loving it. I'm enjoying knitting this. It's really fun, really pretty, and looking forward to see what clues 4 and clues 5 will be. That's what we have left in this shawl, and then we'll be done. And also that I want to mention is that we have a YouTube family member here. I think there are actually more than one knitting this project along with me, Elise Armstrong. I'm talking about you. She has shared her Clue 2 with us for me to show you. I want to show you her Clue 2, and I want to say that it's looking amazing. I love that she's using a bold choice of yarn. It has some striping to it, and I think it's looking really great. You can see her baubles in this this picture, and then I'm going to show you Clue 3 since we are talking about Clue 3. What the picture I'm showing you is not a finished shawl or finished clue, but what I want to point out, something that Elise is doing that I think is awesome. I've never done this. I hate to admit to it, but it is a great thing to do when you're first learning how to knit lace. She included a lifeline in her project. You can see that white thread going through there. You can just easily insert it with, use your knitting. Excuse me, this is not Clue 3, but you basically just take a tapestry needle, insert it, and run it under each one of the stitches on your needle, and insert a lifeline into that row, and then move on. And what that does is if you do have a problem later on down the line, you can just rip it all. If you can't fix it easily, you can just rip everything back to that one row where the lifeline is. The lifeline will catch your stitches, and then you can easily just start from there, and you don't have to worry about, if I rip this back, am I going to be able to catch all of my stitches and get everything positioned properly, because that lifeline will catch everything right where you put it. So bravo, Elise. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for knitting this. Thank you for sharing with us. If any others of you are out there knitting this and want to share your progress, send me an email with your pictures, knitbymoonbeams@gmail.com. I love to share other people's projects. And not just talk about my stuff. Okay. Thank you for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to move on to the stitches, the new stitches for this section. And if you do not want to watch that, thank you for watching this part of the video, and we'll see you guys next time. But if you are going to watch the stitches, let's go straight into it. Okay, there were a few new stitches for this section. I'll show you guys here. These are them. Not too many, but a few. I think I showed you purl 1 through the back loop, but I will show that again. I will also show the increase 3 stitch again. This is a new stitch, the increase 3P, which is a purl stitch version of the increase 3 stitch. I'm going to show you the increase 5 stitch again. And because we are doing color work, I'm going to show you how to slip 3 stitches with the yarn in back and how to slip 3 stitches with the yarn in front. So let's move into it. Also, because there is color work in this section, she does have color coded on her chart. If you are doing a chart, C1 is in the yellow color, C2 is in the pink color. So if you see a row that is shaded pink, you know that that is supposed to be done in color 2. If it's shaded yellow, that is supposed to be done in color 1. See, it's all lined out for you. Very, very well done. Very easy to figure out on the charts. So, let's go into the stitches. All right, we're going to look at the new stitches for Clue 3 of the Romi Hill Mystery Shawl Knit Along. I think I showed this last time, but just in an effort to make sure I do show it, the first stitch I see that is new is a purl through the back loop. Anytime you purl, you have to bring your yarn to the front, purling through the back loop. This is the front loop of your stitch. This is the back loop of your stitch. So to purl through the back loop, you insert your knitting needle through the back loop, wrap your yarn around your needle, pull it through, and you can see it lies just a little bit differently than a normal purl stitch. I'll do a normal purl stitch, and it lies just a little bit twisted. The first one's the purl through the back loop, the second one's a regular purl stitch. Alright, so let's do the next stitch. The next new stitch is an increase 3. I talked about this last time. I'm not sure I showed it, except I showed it when I was doing an increase 5. But an increase 3 is basically you want to just insert your knitting needle into the stitch where you're going to increase 3. You're going to make 1 stitch into 3. You insert your knitting needle, you knit the first stitch, do not pull it off the knitting needle, do a yarn over, go back into that same stitch, do a knit stitch, and that's an increase 3. You've taken 1 stitch and made it into 3. And in essence, it was a knit, yarn over, knit. An increase 3P is a new stitch, which an increase 3P, and it looks really close and similar on the chart to the increase 3, except there's a line underneath it there. So you have to be careful when you're looking at that on the chart. But basically, increase 3 is a knit, yarn over, knit, and increase 3P is a purl. So you bring your working yarn to the front because you're going to be purling. You insert your needle into that stitch where you're going to do the increase 3 purl. You purl. Do not pull it off the left-hand needle. Oops, yarn over. Still bring the working yarn to the front after you do the yarn over. Insert your knitting needle back into that same stitch. Do another purl stitch. So you do a purl, yarn over, purl, and that's an increase 3 purl stitch. You've taken 1 stitch and you've made it into 3. And then the next stitch is an increase 5. Well, I showed you increase 5 last time, just for grins and giggles. Basically, you're going to do 1 stitch into 5. You do a knit. Do not pull it off the left-hand needle. A yarn over, knit. That's an increase 3. To do an increase 5, you do another yarn over, knit into the same stitch. And that's an increase 5. Where you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, another new stitch that I was about to overlook is this stitch here. Slip 3 with your yarn in back, slip 3 with your yarn in front. They look a little bit similar to the slip stitch with the yarn in back, but there is a 3 above it, each one of those. So pay close attention to the stitches if you're using the charts. But they're just basically what it says. I've shown you how to slip the stitch with the yarn in back and how to slip the stitch with the yarn in front. You're just doing 3 stitches instead of 1. So go ahead and show you here. It's mainly for the color work, and you want to keep this loose. I'll show you the back when I'm done. Slip 3 stitches with the yarn in back. Just leave the yarn in back, just like it says, and you just slip 3 stitches. Now, the thing is with the slipping of the stitches, when you get to the next stitch that you have to work, say it's a knit stitch, you do not want to cinch up your work, make it super tight. You want to leave it kind of spread out. And when you do the next stitch, you're going to have a float in the back of your work that looks like this, where you slip the stitch. Let me turn it to make. Can you see that float there? You do not want them to be tight, because if it's super tight, it will pull your knitting and cinch it up, and you won't be able to block it. You do not want it to be too loose either, because you don't want a bunch of strings hanging in the back of your work. The back of this looks like this when you do this work. This is what mine looks like. As you see, it's not loosely hanging down. This is it normally. I'm not stretching, I'm not pulling. This is just it, but it's not super tight either. It's just normal knitting, spaced out, and it still has a little bit of give to it where I can block this, but not a lot where it's too loose and hanging down. That's what that'll look like. Now let me show you what it looks like to slip 3 stitches with the yarn in front. So now if you slip 3 stitches with the yarn in front, you bring the yarn in front, of course, slip 3 stitches purlwise, take the yarn to the back, and you're going to have that leg, and then the next stitch, say the next stitch is just a knit stitch. Again, you do not want to pull this super tight or super loose, because you want to have, you don't want your stitches being all cramped up, and then you don't want all this loosely hanging down in front either. You want it to just be just right, like I showed you. And that's slipping 3 stitches with the yarn in front. When you have just one stitch, you just do one stitch. You would do, I've shown you this before, you would just bring the yarn to the front, slip a stitch, take it to the yarn, take it to the back, do whatever the next stitch is, but you would still have a bump in front of where you had slipped that stitch. For the back, slip the stitch with the yarn in back, do whatever the next stitch is, and in the back you will have a float where you slip the stitch. And there you go. That's what those look like. And thank you for watching that. I hope you've enjoyed that portion. If you have any questions on any of those stitches I have shown you, please don't hesitate to put a comment down below and ask for clarification, because I want you guys to understand that any of these stitches, you just break them down into the pieces and anybody can do them. This is not considered an advanced shawl. I think it's an advanced beginner, just because some of the stitches have more than one step. So you can do this. I know you can. If you do want to knit this, I know you can do it. And I would love for you to try. So let's wrap this up this time. And I thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching. If you are new here, thank you for stopping in. If you are not a subscriber and enjoy watching videos about knitting and crochet and talking about what you are working on, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, be part of our YouTube family. We love to talk about our projects with each other and encourage each other, and we like to see projects. I do share projects that you guys send to me to share, and so this is not all about just what I'm doing. I like to show you guys what all the other people in our YouTube family are working on, if you want to share that. So if you like that, please subscribe, join us. We would love to have you here with us. And got some interesting things coming up for May and June, so keep your eyes open for that. A little bit different stuff, but we'll have a lot of the old stuff as well. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we will catch you all next time. Thank you again.